pass on. Many things are said to be passed on. Sleepiness can be passed on, and yawning can be passed on. Time can be passed on also. In single combat, you can win by relaxing your body and spirit, and then catching on to the moment when the enemy relaxes. Attack strongly and quickly, forestalling him. What is known as getting someone drunk is similar to this. You can also infect the enemy with a bored, careless, or weak spirit. To cause loss of balance. Many things can cause a loss of balance. One cause is danger, another is hardship, and another is surprise. You must research this. In strategy, it is important to cause loss of balance. Or in single combat, start by making a show of being slow. Then attack strongly, without allowing him space for breath to recover from the fluctuation of spirit. You must grasp the opportunity to win. To frighten. Fright often occurs caused by the unexpected. In large-scale strategy, you can frighten the enemy not just by what you present to their eyes, but by shouting, making a small force seem large, or by threatening them from the flank without warning. These things all frighten. You can win by making best use of the enemy's frightened rhythm. To soak in. When you have come to grips and are striving together with the enemy, and you realize that you cannot advance, you soak in and become one with the enemy. You can win by applying a suitable technique while you are mutually entangled. To injure the corners. It is difficult to move strong things by pushing directly, so you should injure the corners. In large-scale strategy, it is beneficial to strike at the corners of the enemy's force. If the corners are overthrown, the spirit of the whole body will be overthrown. To defeat the enemy, you must follow up the attack when the corners have fallen. In single combat, it is easy to win once the enemy collapses. This happens when you injure the corners of his body and thus weaken him. To throw into confusion. This means making the enemy lose resolve. Victory is certain when the enemy is caught up in a rhythm which confuses his spirit. We can confuse the enemy by attacking with varied techniques when the chance arises. Feint a thrust or cut, or make the enemy think that you are going to close with him. And when he is confused, you can easily win. We can make him think, here, there, like that, like this, slow, fast. This is the essence of fighting, and you must research it deeply. To mingle. In battles, when the armies are in confrontation, attack the enemy's strong points, and when you see that they are beaten back, quickly separate and attack yet another strong point on the periphery of his force. The spirit of this is like a winding mountain path. This is an important fighting method for one man against many. What is meant by mingling is the spirit of advancing and becoming engaged with the enemy, and not withdrawing even one step. You must understand this. To crush. This means to crush the enemy, regarding him as being weak. If the enemy is less skillful than ourself, if his rhythm is disorganized, or if he has fallen into evasive or retreating attitudes, crush him straight away. The primary thing is to not let him recover his position even a little. The mountain sea change. The mountain sea spirit means that it is bad to repeat the same thing several times when fighting the enemy. There may be no help but to do something twice, but do not try it a third time. If the enemy thinks of the mountains, attack like the sea, and if he thinks of the sea, attack like the mountains. To penetrate the depths. When we are fighting with the enemy, even when it can be seen that we can win on the surface with the benefit of the way, if his spirit is not extinguished, he may be beaten superficially, yet undefeated in spirit deep inside. With this principle of penetrating the depths, we can destroy the enemy's spirit in its depths, demoralizing him by quickly changing our spirit. If the enemy remains spirited, it is difficult to crush him. To renew. To renew applies when we are fighting with the enemy, and an entangled spirit arises where there is no possible resolution. We must abandon our efforts. Think of the situation in a fresh spirit, then win it in the new rhythm. Rat's head, ox's neck. We must always think of the way of strategy as being both a rat's head and an ox's neck. Whenever we have become preoccupied with small details, we must suddenly change into a large spirit, interchanging large with small. The commander knows the troops. The commander knows the troops applies everywhere in fights in my way of strategy. Using the wisdom of strategy, think of the enemy as your own troops. When you think in this way, you can move him at will and be able to chase him around. The body of a rock. When you have mastered the way of strategy, you can suddenly make your body like a rock, and 10,000 things cannot touch you. This is the body of a rock. You will not be moved. Oral tradition. This book is a spiritual guide for the man who wishes to learn the way. The true way of sword fencing is the craft of defeating the enemy in a fight, and nothing other than this. If you attain and adhere to the wisdom of my strategy, you need never doubt that you will win. The 2nd year of Shōhō, the 5th month, the 12th day, 1645, signed Miyamoto Musashi.